kept you right in.
Really throwing off my chi.
Hello and welcome to Movies for Dumb Guys Summer Edition. I'm your host, Joe Johnson. And look who's back.
That's
Richie
right.
Rollins.
That's right. Double R is back, and that's what this show has lacked. And I am here to throw it down. So just listen to me and don't listen to these other three jabronis in here flap their jaws, because I know what I'm talking about. If you want the knowledge.
All right.
You want the 1990s slang terms like jabroni?
A wrestling episode. Tim Williams.
Don't ever call me that. My name's Chainsaw.
And Ryan Sharp.
Killing me, Smalls.
All right, we are smack dab in the middle of summer, and so our theme for today's podcast are summer-themed movies, or however you want to interpret that. So we're going to kick this right off with the greatest summer movie ever made.
I disagree.
And this movie is so huge.
Huge.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Jaws, in my opinion, is the greatest summer movie ever made. I have vivid memories of sitting in the theater watching this movie as a kid. I was probably about, not even 10 years old yet, I don't think. At the time, one of the scariest movies ever made. Made people afraid to go into the ocean to swim. And it just happened to come out during the summertime and became the very first summer blockbuster. It changed everything. It changed movies. Until Jaws, movie studios thought, no, nobody goes sees movies in the summertime. And so they wouldn't release their tentpoles in the summer. And Jaws changed all that, and lines went around the block, and it just became this phenomenon. And in addition to being a summer movie, it has a lot of summer elements of swimming and going to the beach. And the whole movie kind of revolves around the fact that Amity is a resort town, and people running around yelling shark was going to cut into their summer resort business. A little bit of politics going on even way back then. And so, yeah, Jaws changed everything. In my opinion, the greatest summer movie of all time. Rich, do you concur?
I concur that it's good enough to be in my top 10. And it was a pretty scary movie when I was a kid. I do remember, although it's kind of hard to watch today because of technology came so far. And, the shark isn't as scary as he once was.
But the cool thing about Jaws is knowing that they were having mechanical issues with the robotic shark, Bruce, they had to kind of shoot around it. And so all they really did was kind of show the fin and that they hinted at the fact that it was just below the surface. So I think that made it far more terrifying than actually showing a big fake robotic shark, even though that's what they did kind of at the end of the movie. Spoiler alert. But I thought the scenes where all you saw was that dorsal fin was some of the scariest moments in the movie.
Yeah, it's a good example of less is sometimes better.
Right. Now, we'll see if your idea of technology comes into play when this new Meg movie comes out. From what I've seen in the trailer, they're really ramping up the CGI factor on this movie. So I don't know if that's going to help or hurt. Tim, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, Jaws is number 7 on my list. I never saw it at the theater. But I don't know, maybe because of that, I'm not crazy about it like most people are. But yeah, it's a good movie, summer movie, whatever. And so you think that if they had the technology back then, they would have blown their wad right off the bat and started showing the mechanical shark?
Well, I think
swimming
that was
around?
the idea. They had a full-size mechanical shark that they were going to use, and it started malfunctioning, and they had to kind of call an audible.
Oh,
and
really?
decided
I just figured
to,
that was
yeah.
just the way they did it to build up the tension.
Yeah.
Kind of gives you a
But
whole new
anyway.
thinking about the writing of it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the people on the
Bring-
set, they thought this movie was going to be a disaster. They're like,
Really?
nothing's working. Nobody's seeing the
Well,
shark.
That's the same
Um,
with Star Wars.
Yeah.
Got nominated too, didn't it?
I think it might have got nominated for Best Picture
think
after
so.
after the fact, but Steven Spielberg thought he was done when this movie
Really?
came. Yeah, he's like, I'm never going to work in this town again.
Wow.
And then everyone said, oh, it's brilliant how you never showed the shark. And he was like, hey,
Hey, I did it on purpose.
I meant to do that.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
I am anxiously awaiting the Meg, though.
We'll see.
Like I mentioned before, disappointed with Rampage, disappointed with Jurassic World 2, disappointed with what was the other one? Oh, Pacific Rim. So hopefully we get a decent monster movie this summer.
We'll see. I'm a little concerned about the trailers. Like I said, the CGI might be a little over the top.
That scene at the very end when it's coming up, that is not in the actual movie.
Okay.
I've seen that before. That was like something else. That was just like an ad thing.
Okay.
So that part is not going to be in the
All right.
movie. But
I'll go see it. I'm excited to see it. And I love me some Jason Statham. So we'll see. We'll see if we can recapture the Jaws magic. Ryan, your thoughts on Jaws?
We're gonna need a bigger boat. Did not make my list.
Smile, you son of a bitch.
Every time, without fail, every time. It didn't make my list.
Whoops.
Mother effer.
I realized I was still going.
It is a summer movie. However, I just don't think of it when I think of summer movies. So, not that it, that's just in my brain. That's my own thing. So,
Beach, skinny dipping.
what did I just say, Johnson? Are you hearing the words coming out of my mouth? I said it is a summer movie, but I just don't think of it as a summer movie. And if I really deconstruct it, I don't love this movie.
I'm really confused by what he just said.
I'm kind of like, I'm with Ryan there. I mean, I did put it as number 7 just because it's a classic, but I don't love this movie really either.
That surprises me, man. I think it might be in my top 20 all-time favorite movies. The dialogue, the writing, the
Another list.
performances, the acting, scary as hell, man.
I think it would have been different if I would have been able to see it at the theater.
Yeah.
But I was too young.
Oh, here we go. What do you got there, Ryan?
Not working.
All right.
I got volume down. That's what I got.
I really think it's one of the greatest movies ever made. Yes. I agree. Here, you could plug into that right there. Well, yes, I agree with myself. All right. So Jaws came out in 1975. Number 2 on my list of greatest summer movies ever made. Let me look for the little. Oh yeah, here we go.
The Fish and Game Commission has raised the legal kill limit on campers to 3. So if you're hiking today, please wear something bright and keep low.
Meatballs, 1979. Bill Murray's first starring vehicle. Saw this movie when I was a kid. What was I, 13 when this came out? When I saw this movie, I wanted to be Bill Murray. I wanted to be that character, the rabble rouser, the leader, the troublemaker, the anti-authority guy.
I wanted to be Spaz, and I think I'm doing a pretty good job.
Spaz.
Thank you.
Yeah, and this was early on in those teenage romp, camp movies, sort of a thing. But it was a very sweet movie. It's not as raunchy as some of the stuff that came out after it, like Porky's and stuff like that. This kind of, after Saturday Night Live, this started Bill Murray's movie career, and this has all those summer movie elements of the kids going to camp and competing with the rival camp, and there's swimming and canoeing and marshmallow roasting. There's all kinds of stuff going on in this movie, and so Meatballs is my second greatest summer movie. Rich?
I have yet to finish watching this movie.
What?
The 3 times I've tried, when I rented the movie, I fell asleep and woke up after the movie was over.
Man.
Wow.
It just might have been I was just tired those days. It didn't seem like a bad movie, but I just fell asleep and never finished it.
Tim?
I like this movie a lot. It's my number 6.
Okay.
It's been a long time since I've seen it, but yes, I did. I really enjoyed it. I did like the way that Bill Murray messed with, what was his name, Morty?
My name's Morty, not Mickey. Hi, Mickey.
And yeah, just the whole thing. It was good movie.
Yeah. Ryan, you ever see this?
It is in my. I did the same thing I did last week. I didn't necessarily number these because they're so close. So Meatball is definitely in my top 10, probably in my top 5. I love this movie. Rudy the Rabbit, Rudy the Rabbit. Right?
Oh yeah, so many quotes.
Yeah,
man.
absolutely. You know, and that is where I fell in love with Bill Murray and thought he was absolutely a comic genius.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I've ever mentioned we share a birthday, same birthday.
Ah.
me and the Murray. So
That deserves a drop.
well, I have yet to meet the man. But,
Ouch!
but we are
Hit my foot.
definitely connected on the day. So
Yeah, I'm the same way. This became my Bill Murray today is like my top actor up there with Tom Hanks and like Harrison Ford on my bucket list of people I would love to meet, and he is my hero. And I love this movie. It's where it all started. All right, moving on to number 3. I know this movie has come up on our past podcasts under comedies and things like that. Vacation, that classic summer road trip, putting the family in a station wagon, driving across country. Only did that once as a kid. We actually drove to Florida to Disney World, and it was an adventure. It was pretty interesting. A lot of stories came out of that. And so I think every family had that experience. When school lets out, Dad was going to organize the family road trip across the country.
Now, you listen to me, fat ass. You do what I say and there won't be any problem, okay? Okay. We just drove 2,460 miles just for a little Roy Wally entertainment. The Moose says you're closed. I say you're open.
So imagine getting there and the park is closed. So yeah, I think it's something a lot of us can relate to, that family road trip. So many great moments in this movie, so many great lines, so many great performances, and a great movie car to boot, the family truckster. You think you hate it now, wait till you drive it. Rich, your thoughts on Vacation, 1983?
It's a good summer movie. I liked it. It did remind me of a lot of trips that we took to Florida in our 1978 Olds Cutlass station wagon. And Dad was like Chevy Chase in that movie. He'd just see something on the side of the road. It's like, oh, let's stop and go here, and it'd be worthless. It'd be the worst
The largest
experience
ball
ever,
of twine.
basically. And then we tried to go Lookout Mountain one time, and it was closed. I was like, how is a cliff closed? But it was closed. And that was our trip to Florida and back every year. It's always something.
Tim?
That is my number 1 summer movie of
Yeah.
all time. And it reminded me, same thing. We used to take a trip just about every summer. Sometimes it was just up north, but we did go to Florida, and I did go to Texas with my family. And yeah, it was quite similar to a lot of things that went on in that movie. My dad was not like Clark Griswold as far as that went, though. We would beg him to stop at every mystery spot and everything like that, and he'd be like, "No, I'm getting to it there." One time he did relent, and yeah, he knew what he was talking about because those things sucked.
Now, I did drive across country to California and back when I lived in California for a year, and I really regret not stopping and taking everything in because we just tried to get out there as quickly as we could. I think we got out there in 2 days. But we did manage to stop and see the meteor crater and the painted desert. And I swear, I don't know why I have this memory, but I swear I thought I saw a sign that the Grand Canyon was closed. Now, I'm sure it was just the road, but I remember saying, hey, should we stop and see the Grand Canyon? And then we saw like a sign that said closed, and we were like, the Grand Canyon's closed? So we just kept going. So, Ryan, your thoughts on Vacation?
it's on my list again. I don't know where it ranks, but it definitely is up there. It had so many great elements from Christy Brinkley to the dog incident, the ant dying, there's just so many parts to it that really make it hilarious. Clark's hilarious, of course. Cousin Eddie, gotta love him and everything he does. And
I don't know why they call it Hamburger Helper. It does just fine on its own.
now I, growing up, we didn't do shit. So it doesn't remind me of going on any vacations at all because we didn't go anywhere. But I do love this movie.
Caught me off guard there. All right, number 4 on my list. Now this is interesting. This is a movie that I did not see in the theater. I remember when it was released in theaters. It was not playing anywhere around here. It was in one of those limited releases. And I remember sending an email or something to like the producer, and I'm like, "What's the deal? I want to see this movie. It's not playing anywhere." And the guy responded and said, "Yeah, we're a little pissed off about it." And so I had to wait for it to come out on DVD. And when it finally was released on DVD, I ran out. I bought it sight unseen, brought it home, watched it, and laughed my butt off during the entire thing. Wet, Hot American Summer. Released in 2001. It's hard to believe. I don't know if that's a typo. 2001 seems like that was a long time ago.
Wow.
That might be a typo.
No, that's what it was because
Wet Hot American Summer.
you invited me over to watch it, and
Okay.
I watched it.
Someone might have to verify that on the phone. But the cast was incredible.
Let me call the director.
Paul Rudd, Amy Poehler, Janine Garofalo, Bradley Cooper, Elizabeth Banks, and the list goes on and on of some of the great comedians at the time.
The guy from LA Law or whatever.
Yeah, Chris Maloney,
Maloney,
and this movie was just hilarious.
2001 was confirmed.
Wow, man, it just doesn't seem like it was that long ago.
I don't know how
5
it's got a
years.
33% on Rotten Tomatoes.
No, it does not. 33.
33%.
At the time it came out, it was getting rave reviews. That's weird,
Maybe
man.
the younger generation watched it and didn't like it.
Could be, but I was blown away when I saw it. I thought it was laugh out loud funny. Janine Garofalo was hysterical.
It was
and
great.
And what I love about it, it was kind of an homage to Meatballs. It was set during that time period. Everyone wore short jean cutoffs, and it had that authentic, late 70s, early 80s vibe to it. And I think that's why I loved it so much. Rich, anything else you want to add to that?
It was number 3 on my list. I loved it. I mean, I just remember you're telling me about it, and I was like, "Come on, really? Your picking movies usually suck." But this time you were on fire that day, and I just remember laughing, and I loved it. And I've been thinking about it a lot lately, and I was like, I haven't seen it in forever. I want to watch it again.
Yeah, I need to sit down and watch it again, too.
And I was like, cheap, so I was like at the library, but it was checked out already. So.
Yeah. I mean, it got a little cheesy at the end with like there's an alien subplot or something, but I thought
Right.
everything leading up to that was hysterical. Tim, did you ever see Wet Hot American Summer?
Yeah. I don't know if you showed it to me or what, but I remember the same thing, seeing stuff about it and thinking that it was going to come out. And I think probably Harry Knowles was saying how great it was. And I was disappointed when I first saw it. I thought
Really?
I thought it was kind of a mess, but
Hmm.
but then after I watched it again, and I was like, well, then I thought they were purposely trying to make it crappy. So I don't know if that's the case or not.
I
But,
think it was.
yeah.
Yeah.
Then I was like, then I got it a little bit more. But yeah, I mean, there was parts of it that I liked originally, but then I remember watching it again and appreciating it more, realizing that they were trying to channel those
Right.
movies from the 80s,
Yeah.
the camp movies.
You ever get around to seeing it, Ryan?
Yeah, I'm
But I do not have it in my top 10.
I'm a little confused by you because this is a dumb movie, and you always call out all the movies that I say Red is awesome, and what do? You cut it up. This
No,
had a
no,
talking tin can of vegetables, and you're okay
you're
with
right.
that.
Because
You don't like Kingdom
was a
Skull, but
tribute.
you're okay with the aliens in this one.
that was
like-
the weakest part
I
of
mean,
the movie. But
what's the name of the show, Ryan, that we're on?
That's not the. My point is that he.
now remember, we don't discuss the greatest movies. We discuss our
Yeah.
favorite.
I
movies.
know. I'm not. That's not even what this is about. What this is about is that when I pick a movie, you're like, "Oh, it's so dumb. I don't like that." And then you pick a movie where there's a talking can of vegetables, and you're like, "It's in my top."
Now,
10."
why was there a talking can of vegetables? I don't remember. Was it just like old or something, and it
I don't remember.
became
I have to
sentient?
rewatch this again.
So
but-
was
now,
so
having said that,
yes,
I really like this movie.
son of a.
And not only do I like this movie, I actually like the Netflix series that they made where they go back.
Yeah, I never saw
Never
that.
saw
But
I think it's hilarious because they're old, but they're still playing the same roles and they're playing it the same way.
It's a whole series. They
Yeah,
did
it's
more
like a
than one?
12 episode
Really?
season
Oh,
on
I
Netflix.
didn't even
it's
know
a lot
about
of the
that.
same actors too.
It's
right?
everybody.
Yeah, yeah.
And but they're old, and but
They
they're
go
playing the. It's like the day, I don't remember, but it's like the day before or something like that, or the day after that the movie takes place. So they just pick right up, and it's. I enjoyed that
Oh,
as
so
well.
they're old, but they're still playing the younger versions of
The
themselves.
exact. It's like the next day, but
Oh,
it's
okay.
15 years later.
That's
So,
awesome.
That's funny.
yeah, it's great. So
Yeah.
I it's not on my list, but I do love this movie.
All right. And number 5 on my list, and then we'll go around the table. I was debating which one to put at number 5 because I wanted to talk about it. And the one I ended up settling on just because of the fact that it's so quotable. I mean, when I get together with family, lines from this movie come up. Here's one of the more famous scenes in the movie.
I think that just about does it.
He's not done yet.
Well, he may take a little while with that last bite, but it'll go down.
That ain't the last bite.
Well, sure it is. There's nothing on that plate but gristle and fat. Oh, God, man. No problem. Listen, if I can get a dessert down him, think you could throw in a couple of Paul Bunyan hats for the kids?
So that famous scene where John Candy has to eat the entire steak, fat and gristle and all, is one of the funnier moments in the movie.
The old 76er.
The great, no, it was like 96er, I think it was. And the Great Outdoors, John Candy, Dan Aykroyd, 1985, or I'm sorry, 1988. And I remember taking the tour of Universal Studios in California, and they would always point out, there's the cabin from the Great Outdoors. That was like a tourist attraction at Universal Studios. Just a great movie, laugh out loud, funny, great performances by Dan Aykroyd and John Candy. So many great going up north moments. You know, my family has a cottage up north, and man, I just can't help but think of this movie whenever we go up there, and we're all sitting around the lake. And classic movie.
It is 96er. You were right.
Rich, any thoughts on the Great Outdoors?
I am really baffled right now how I forgot all about it and didn't put it on my list. It is one of my favorite movies of all time, and I loved it, and I still love it. And it reminds me of all those close romances I almost had with every go-kart putt-putt girl that worked up north whenever we go up north.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, the A&Ws.
The don't forget the little diner.
The little diner we went to,
The
yeah.
little diner up in Silver Lake.
The relationships that almost were.
Man, you're bringing back good memories, man. You're absolutely right. Like, you'd go to some out of the way diner someplace, and there was
Right?
always like this stunningly beautiful girl working there.
Right?
Yeah.
And she'd be talking to you, and it's like you almost want to, both of you, it seems like you both want to say, hey, let's hang out, but you don't.
But you know that you don't even live near
Well,
each
actually,
other, so it's
to be-
forbidden fruit.
To be honest, Rich did the one time, and the girl pretended to be deaf.
Oh, shit, yeah, I did.
No, that's a true story. That's not a
True
joke.
Man,
I totally blacked that out till now. Thanks, Ryan. I got to go see my therapist.
It was great.
Tim, your thoughts on the Great Outdoors?
Yeah, I don't remember a whole lot about it. I mean, I remember liking it, but I probably haven't seen it since 1988. But yeah, I guess it did kind of remind me of same thing. That was a staple of our vacations. We'd always go up north to this place. I don't even remember, but it was like cabins on the lake and same thing. But yeah, now that Rich says that, I remember like being in love with a putt-putt girl in Caseville. Probably my first.
No
love.
kidding, Caseville. No
Yeah,
shit.
was it the same thing.
Same thing.
It's probably the same one.
Probably there couldn't been too many.
I think we got a
I
movie
just-
in the making
I
here,
It's
man.
family run.
We need to write this summer romance movie right here.
Putt-putt girls.
Putt-putt
I do have to say, I do have to say though that when I did watch it the last time, I did notice when the bear is jumping on him, you can see them hitting him. Well, he's not hitting the bear with a stick, but you can see somebody's hand totally waving the stick in the bear's face.
Oh, really?
yeah.
Yep.
Oh, wow. That was a great
Little-
scene, though, when the
little
door breaks down and he's
movie
jumping up
picture.
and down on top
Yeah.
of it.
The raccoons were the best of that movie.
Lot of-
I,
lot of great
I
moments
will
in that
have to
movie.
revisit that actually.
Me too.
Because I mean, I did like it, but it's been so long since I've seen it. I don't remember much about it.
Yeah. Ryan, your thoughts on Great Outdoors?
No, she's bald on both ends. So yeah, Putt Putt Girls. That doesn't mean anything to me because when I was growing up, we didn't do shit. So I never got to go up to the cabins and find the crush up there. So yeah, seriously.
I'm feeling bad now.
No, so but this is on my list. I absolutely love this movie. A lot of great quotes. I mean, I had a bat in my house one time, and I reenacted the whole.
Oh my god! Yeah, another great
I
scene.
suited up. I was young when this came out, so like that was my first. Like, oh, the spin cycle. Oh wait, what is that doing? I don't understand. What do you mean? Why does she want to sit on the washer when the spin cycle's going on? Like, so yeah, I watched this movie a lot growing up, and those twins still freak me out.
Like the shiny.
They're scarier than the Shining
Yeah,
twins.
so,
Gingers.
All right, that's my top 5. I got 5 more on my top 10, but we're going to go around the table first. So, Richie, what do you got that we haven't talked about?
Well, my top movie is a great acting movie. It's called A Long Hot Summer. It stars Paul Newman, Orson Welles, and Joan Woodward. And
That's Paul Newman's wife, right?
yeah. I believe this is the movie they met on. I'm not sure, but I think it's around that time.
Do you know the
Second one.
year on that?
Oh man,
Have to look that up.
I'd have to look it up again. But
Somebody look that up.
A Long Hot Summer. And it's a long hot summer. Paul Newman plays a guy whose father was an arsonist in a small town, and of course
1958.
58. Ooh.
So everybody hates him, and they punish him for what his father did. And Orson Welles is the father of Joan Woodward, and Paul falls in love with Joan, and Joan falls in love with Paul, and it's just like this big mess. And a fire happens, so everybody's coming to get him. Like all the townspeople are gonna come kill him and stuff, and he won't run, type thing. And eventually they figure it out. But it's really good, hard acting movie. Probably another movie that Paul Newman should have got the Academy Award for.
All right. Interesting little tidbit. You guys might have to verify this, but I believe that Paul Newman's wife, Joanne Woodward, got the very first star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Might want to verify that, but I'm pretty sure she got the very first star on the Walk of Fame.
Interesting.
Have you guys seen Long Hot Summer? You guys care to
I have
comment
not.
on it? All right.
I have not.
Me neither. So I'm
Alrighty.
going to put that on my to-do list, and we'll
You
move
are
on.
correct. It was Joanne Woodward in 1960.
Yeah. All right.
Ah,
There you go.
there you go.
All right. What else you got on your list?
Well, I got another classic from the late 80s, early 90s, Friday. Ice Cube,
That was like 95.
95.
Is that Fridays with an S on the end of it, or
No, Friday.
Oh, Friday.
The
Friday.
original, the original one, Friday.
With Debo, man.
With Debo.
Okay. I don't. I hate to say this, I don't think I've ever seen it.
Oh, my goodness.
You better shut your mouth before I shut it for you.
Can't believe it. We've talked about this before. I know that you. It's an urban movie, so you didn't want to.
But yeah, it just reminded me of my summer days in Goodison, except without all the crime and stuff. But me and my buddy, we'd sit out front. We had weights out there, be lifting weights, and then
Those
my buddy
steel
would do
bicycles.
something stupid, like he'd get fired on his day off, and
So you got like 30 seconds. Pitch this movie to me. Why should I see this movie?
because it's damn funny.
Wow, that's less than 30 seconds.
Yep. That's all I
Tim,
got
do you
for
concur?
I like. Excuse me. It did not make my list, but I do like Friday. And honestly, it probably would have been on there, but I was thinking I overthought it, and I was thinking, well, it's not necessarily a summer movie because they made such a big deal about it being Friday. But then when I thought about it, it does take place in the summer. So,
It's in
But that's good.
California, so
well, yeah,
It's always
so
summer.
It's always
hard to
summer in
say,
California.
right? But yeah, I think you'd probably like it if you watched it.
Who's in this movie?
Ice Cube, Tiny Tim Lister, Chris
Chris
Tucker.
Tucker.
Wow.
Nina Long,
No,
Mia Long.
is there a movie
Yeah.
Fridays with an S on it?
That's
Is that-
the sequel.
that's a sequel.
No,
Okay.
no.
No.
Friday. There's
Oh
Friday.
no, next Friday.
Next
Next
Friday,
Friday.
and
I'm
the
sorry.
Friday
Friday
after,
after that.
next.
Okay.
Yeah. Fridays was the TV show that was trying to compete with Saturday Night Live
Yeah.
in the 80s with Michael Richards.
And then there was a movie called Thank God It's Friday. That's different, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
totally different.
It's all
totally
a blur.
This. All right. I didn't put this on my list. I don't think of it as a summer movie. It is on my list of greatest comedies, though. I absolutely love this movie. There's so many quotes. Chris Tucker was amazing. It was kind of his breakout role. It kind of put him on the map. So funny, well written, again, one of my favorite comedies of all time. So
All right. We have to swing by
but it
Second
is
and Charles
it
and
is
see if they got it.
It is a different type of comedy, though. It is an urban comedy, and it's about living in the ghetto and growing up, trying to avoid drive-bys and getting shot and stuff like that. Crackheads walking the street. And that's where Bye Felicia came from.
Oh, okay.
Bye Felicia.
All right. So that's what your childhood was like when not going on the road trips?
Exactly. What did they do? They sat on the stoop watching the traffic go, watching everybody go up north, watching everybody go up north. Here I am, sitting
Not
here.
doing shit.
Yeah, not doing shit. It's all right. 'Cause I got mind control, all you guys. You guys tell me shut up, I'll be shutting up. You leave,
Watching
I'll be
everybody
talking again.
go by to see the putt-putt girls.
All right. I'm adding that one to my list.
Sexy girlfriend.
What else you got, Rich?
Stand By Me.
All right.
It's another great movie. Adventure at the end of the summer. I grew up by railroad tracks, and there was always that legend of that kid.
Oh, is a
that-
dead body there?
Well, no, I never found the dead body, but there was always a legend that there was a dead body on the railroad tracks. We'd always walk up it every summer, and then the movie came out, and we're like, hey, that's what we do.
Copyright infringement.
I know.
That is probably at the top of my list of movies I haven't seen that I still need to see.
Jeez, man.
I have not seen Stand By Me.
Should I go to my
man.
bottom half? Maybe you've seen my bottom half.
I don't want to see your bottom half.
Oh, wait. I screwed up. But this
Yeah,
is perfect.
Stand By Me is the number one movie I need to see that I
I
haven't
haven't
seen.
all these movies.
I went looking for it on
What'd you
DVD.
say? You do here.
I went to go looking for it this week because I'm off this week. I wanted to get caught up on some movies, and I couldn't find that one on DVD, so I ended up getting a couple of crappy movies that Ryan recommended, and
I don't think I own
ruined my week off.
I don't think I do own that one, but it is my number 4.
number 4.
And I grew up right next to the tracks too, and I was going to say the exact same thing. I remember I remember going back, walking the tracks, and the gravel pit behind me. And there was like an old mine shaft back there that we used to go down into.
wow.
And one time, one of my buddies freaked out because he swore that he saw a severed head down there. We had to run back. We grabbed my dad. He went back, and then miraculously the head had disappeared. But I mean, we didn't verify it ourselves. We were just like, running out. There's a head. Turns out that guy was a mental, but that kid. But anyway, yeah. I can't believe you've never seen this.
I know.
It's a great movie.
Is that Rob Reiner? Did he direct that?
Yes, Meathead.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I
Precious
got to
good.
see it. Brian, your thoughts on Stand By Me?
So growing up, we didn't live by railroad tracks because we didn't do shit. No, I
Couldn't even hop a train to
couldn't
get
even-
the hell out of there.
Nothing. I could hear it in the distance. No, it's a great movie. Just astonished you haven't seen it. It's
I know.
a masterpiece. And you can relate to so many different characters and
Yeah,
just well put together, man. It's gonna end up being in one of your maybe not favorite all time, but it's gonna leave an impact on you.
I actually went on demand on cable and searched the entire movie list looking for Stand By Me, and it wasn't on there. This movie just avoids me for some reason. So,
wow.
all right, what else you got?
Well, my last movie is a movie you guys haven't seen, so it's Call Me by Your Name. But for sake of conversation, I will
Oh,
bump
this just came out a few years ago, didn't it? Or
It was
year or
last
so.
year.
Yeah, yeah.
for a movie you haven't seen. All right. So, for conversation's sake, I will just give you my number 6, American Graffiti.
American Graffiti is on my list at number 8.
I love it. I was going through a period of time where I like to look back at the 50s, and the 60s, and that movie came out and blew me away.
I wish there was a culture I could relate to because in my teens, very few of us had a car. I didn't have my car until I was probably 20. Didn't do a lot of cruising, but when I watch movies like this, my jaw hangs open, and
Oh,
I'm like,
man,
I
yeah.
wish I was part of that car culture of cruising and going to the drive-ins. And I mean, when I went to the drive-in, it was with the family, you know.
Oh, yeah.
I'm really jealous that I didn't get to experience cruising
Oh,
as a
it
teen.
was a good time cruising Lapeer or Gratiot. It was always fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so many people in that movie that have gone on to become stars. Ron Howard, Cindy Williams, Harrison Ford, all went on to be big
Don't
stars.
forget Richard Dreyfuss.
Richard Dreyfuss.
Don't forget, this
Um,
was the gateway to Star Wars for George Lucas.
Right, that allowed him to do Star Wars, and of course, young, beautiful Suzanne Summers as the mystery girl in the Thunderbird. And then, of course, the cars. My God, the cars 32 Ford Coupe, 55 Chevy. The cars are the stars in this movie, man. It's just great. Yeah. Good one. You guys concur with American Graffiti?
I don't think I've ever watched it.
Wow.
I've seen parts of it, but I don't think I've ever watched it from beginning to end. And the parts that I did see were probably on TV when they started showing it,
Yeah.
made for TV. So
I mean, there's not much of a
I don't-
story to it. It's just kind of a slice of life. It's just
right,
cruising and flirting with girls, and it's breaking up and getting together. And so,
Again, it brought back so many memories of relationships that almost were.
yeah. The girl in the car next to you driving away.
Yeah, with the other dude.
It's on my list. I really like this movie a lot. I also would have liked to have cruised, but growing up, we had a 1985 Chevette, so that would have been really cool cruising down 59, getting the honeys.
It's a classic.
Yeah. No, I think it was great. It didn't have to have a purpose or a point.
Yeah.
A slice of life was a great way to put it, and it worked.
Yeah.
And everybody could relate when it came out. Even generations later, you can still you can get down with it. So
I did have a friend who had a Camaro, and he would pick me up occasionally, and we'd go to Belle Isle. We'd drive around Belle Isle. That was kind of our cruise spot when I was a teenager. But like I said, not a lot of us had cars, so that wasn't part of our culture growing up. So, all right. Good job. Tim, what do you got that we haven't discussed yet?
my number one was Vacation. My number two is Summer School. I think
Mark
it
Harmon?
came out in 1987.
Kirstie Alley.
Yep, Courtney Thorne Smith, Shawnee
Courtney Thorne.
Smith.
This was one of those movies that was on endless loop on cable TV
Yeah.
back in the 80s.
Yeah, I don't know. I just really like this movie. I mean, it's funny. It it kind of encompasses the whole summer. I went back and forth about putting this as my number one because I think I might actually like this better than National Lampoon's Vacation a little bit. I don't know. I just like the whole thing of it. He's supposed to go to Hawaii, and then he ends up having to teach these misfit kids in
Remedial
summer
English.
school, and yep, and it's just a good movie.
Is
I
that
haven't
when,
seen it in a while, but
Is that when the world was introduced to Kirstie Alley? I think that might have been her. Because I think Cheers came later, didn't it?
this was '87, so I don't know.
Okay.
No, well, was it? No, she was in. Wouldn't Wrath of Khan been
Oh, yeah.
before that?
Yeah, that might have been the first thing I ever saw her in. So, yeah. I have vague memories of summer school. I haven't watched it in a long, long time. This is one I'm going to have to revisit. Ryan, your memories of summer school?
it's
And
on
I'm
my
not talking about real life. I'm talking about the movie.
I had to go to summer school. 'Cause we didn't have shit. It was like my babysitter. So, this is on my list. Very high on my list, actually. I loved this movie growing up. I watched it all the time. I can quote it like, start to finish. The characters were great. The misfits, growing up, I was a little kid. So there's a part where the two like derelicts, Chainsaw and Dave, they had to write a really long report, and they're like, "That's why we love Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Very, 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 very." And he's like 500 words on the dot. You can count them. And as a kid in school, I was like, genius. And I thought that was so funny. You had the sex appeal with Courtney Thorne Smith, and then they had the foreign girl, which I don't remember who she was, but she was a bombshell. He had Kirstie Alley getting all sexy and as a teacher. Mark Harmon, I thought, did a great job in his role as Mr. Shoop. And even that asshole Gil, cast was very well put together.
Mhm.
And it tackled a lot of like high school things like driver's training and underage drinking and anytime you put a dog in a movie, it's a good thing, right? So Wonder Mutt. So um, yeah, it was ranked really high on my list.
I gotta watch it again. All right, good one. What else you got?
Okay, my number. Oh,
What?
Rich.
Oh, Rich, did you want to chime in on this?
Well, yeah, a funny story about summer school. In 1992, I was in summer school, and that was the first time I saw summer school. Our teacher didn't want to do anything one day, so he throws in summer school and has us watch it.
You watch summer
So
school.
we watched
in
summer school,
Summer school.
in summer school. And I remember
Wow.
being pretty funny, and I was going to put my arm around the girl next to me. Her name was Heather. And she leaned over
Was
to
she
C.J.
pregnant?
Howard and put her head on his chest. And I was like, another relationship that almost was.
Man,
Later, she would
heartbreaking.
star in Putt Putt Girls.
Putt Putt Girls, the movie.
She was from the South.
My number 3 is a 3-way tie.
Three-way tie.
Yeah,
Ooh.
Friday the 13th, Sleepaway Camp, and The Burning, starring Jason
That's
Alexander.
definitely not the three-way I want.
I know. Rich is like, three-way? That reminds me of that time.
when
Me and the Putt Putt Girl and the
And
Diner Girl.
and nothing happened.
nothing happened.
Give me those 3 movies again.
Friday the 13th,
Okay.
Sleepaway Camp, and The Burning.
I don't remember The Burning. That sounds like a
one,
commercial.
That one was actually probably,
Sounds like
as far as
made up.
movies go, that was probably
Preparation
the
High.
best one.
Better than Friday the 13th, man. Friday the
Yeah.
13th
Facts.
started it all.
Well, yeah, but the
Classic.
Burning is actually a better movie, I would say.
Now, is
and
this,
I don't know
was
which
it a
one's which.
summer camp?
They all came around the same
theme?
time. Yeah, summer camp.
Penicillin.
They end up. I'm trying to think. I don't think they like the kid. I don't
I
think.
thought crabs like water.
I don't think they. I don't think they. I think they went to prank the counselor, Cropsy, and they end up doing something, and they catch him on fire, and they think he's dead. Well, then
Yikes.
when they go back, he comes after him with I think it was like shears or like trimmers or something. But yeah, Jason Alexander's in that movie.
Really?
Yes.
Man,
Yeah.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah.
But,
Was it cold in the pool?
Now, as much as I love Friday the 13th, man, I have fond memories of Friday the 13th Part 2.
I liked Friday the 13th Part 2 better. Wait, was that the 3D one? Or was
No,
that
3 was 3D.
Okay. Yeah,
2
you're right. You're right. Part 2 was actually better because that's when Jason was actually
started wearing the mask.
and that's yeah, because he was not even the killer in the first one.
Right,
It was the mom. But
Spoiler alert.
yeah, sorry. But I liked 3D too because I think that's when I first got cable and I used to watch that one over and over.
See, no, I saw 3D in the theater in 3D, and it gave me a pounding headache. They had not
Really?
quite perfected the 3D process back then.
Okay.
So for me, it's 1 and 2. And one of the reasons I love 2 is it had full frontal nudity. As a kid, I was like, it doesn't get much better than that.
Well, what about Sleepaway Camp? That did
No,
too.
see, I don't remember Sleepaway Camp.
The big twist, spoiler alert for anybody listening, is at the very end. This girl, the girl that had been raised as a girl reveals that she's a guy. The camera pans away, and she's got this crazy look on her face, and she's naked, and there's a penis.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is all new to me.
I mean, they're all pretty much the same, but I mean, they were all like 80s camp slasher movies, so I had to like include them all.
All right. I got Friday the 13th as number 7 on my list. Ryan?
It definitely is a summer movie, Friday the 13th, but it is not for me. I'm not a big horror movie guy. So
Me neither, but it's a classic.
it is a classic, absolutely, but not one that I watch often, forever.
Friday the 13th is one of the few movies that made me scream out loud. I'm trying to remember which scene it was. I can't remember what scene it was, but I just remember screaming out loud watching Friday the 13th. It wasn't the end when Jason pops out of the water, but it was somewhere in the movie, and I can't say that about a lot of movies. Now, crying, that's different. Like, every movie makes me cry, but
I know, it's like, Joe, that's just a concession preview. Like,
Hey, I just checked The Burning, just to see what year it came out. It came out in 1981, but it has 86% on Rotten Tomatoes.
The Burning does.
Yes.
Wow.
Yep.
Rich, your memories of...
I think we got you screaming, Joe.
Your memories of Friday the 13th there, Rich?
My memories of Friday the 13th was watching it at Halloween time, so it just never clicked in my head that it was a summer movie. And I've only
Despite
watched
the
it,
fact that it was at camp.
and I
but-
only watched it once. And
Really?
yeah, actually, you know what? Come to think of it, the one time we watched it, it was like we were doing a triple feature, and I think they were all camp movies.
Okay.
Because Ernest Goes to Camp, we watched that the same night.
If anyone
is my
has that on their
ex-girlfriend.
list, I'm going to punch somebody.
What's
And those other two
Ernest
movies,
Goes to Camp. Jeez. I wish that was a slasher flick.
Sleepaway Camp and The Burning, I've never even heard of until
Yeah.
now. So
All right.
86% on Rotten Tomatoes? You guys need to check it out. That's,
yeah.
that's what you need to look for at Second and Charles.
All right. The Burning.
All right.
All
by
right.
me.
Right next to the itching and the rash.
Second and
Right.
Charles is going to be paying us money for the plugs.
My number 5 is Weekend at Bernie's.
Nice.
All right.
That's a fun movie.
Come on, that dude deserved an award. I can't remember who the actor was.
Absolutely.
Whoever played Bernie, that guy deserved an award for that. Terry Kaiser.
Yeah.
Can you imagine getting the script to that and saying, "Hey, we want to hire you to do this
I
movie,
know.
no lines,
No lines, yeah.
and you just got to
just-
lay limp the whole time."
Exactly. He did
My
a
question
fantastic
is-
job.
When does rigor mortis set in? That was a bit of a pet peeve of mine. And I don't know. I mean, yeah,
It does release.
I remember when this movie came out, and I'm like, I can't believe this movie is doing so well. And again, it was an endless loop on cable when it came out, and I
thought the same
found
thing.
the
I had no
premise
interest
so
in seeing it, but
ridiculous.
then I heard people, talking about it. Actually, my parents were the ones that like watched it before me, and they were like, "You need to watch Weekend at Bernie's." I was like, "Eh," but
Wow.
finally I did, and I like cracked up through the whole thing.
Wow.
Have you seen it?
Oh, sure.
Oh,
I saw
okay.
it dozens of times
Oh,
when it was
okay.
on cable. It was just I just
Oh,
couldn't
okay. I
get
thought
past
you were
the
saying you
premise.
didn't watch it.
No,
Okay.
no. I saw it. I remember when it was huge. But
This is what I'm talking about. You
Mhm.
can't get past the premise, but a dude as a can of vegetables, vegetables, you're okay with.
that was different. What are your memories of Weekend at Bernie's, Ryan?
I have very fond memories. It is on my list as well.
All right.
I thought it was hilarious. Yeah, it's a goofy concept, and they're spraying it with not Febreze back then, but like Lysol, and put them in the fridge, and smacking them with a fly swatter to keep the flies away, and making people go crazy. It's stupid, it's campy, but it's hilarious, and I enjoyed it.
You're right. For as goofy as that premise is, I think they pulled it off well.
I can't even criticize the premise because I can imagine the pitch meeting where someone says, "All right, this guy dies, and they got to try to keep the thing going." And it's like, okay, I could see the pitch. It's just like I said, man. If that was like a real life situation, things would be getting ugly quick. So, all right, so that's your top 5.
That is my top 5.
All right, Ryan, what do you got that we haven't discussed yet?
Number 1 on my list, and I really could have made an entire list with the same idea in mind. Number 1 on my list is The Sandlot. There's nothing like summer to me than growing up, being on summer vacation, going out with the boys and playing some ball at the crappy field that the neighborhood all shared.
Yes.
And all the hilarity and other stuff that ensues because of that. I think it's a great movie. It's so quotable, so many funny parts to it, and just a masterpiece.
Wendy Peppercorn.
Wendy Peppercorn, come on. How awesome was that?
I finally got around to seeing this movie.
Yeah.
And I agree with you on certain points. I think there's a lot of great lines in the movie. I think it's running. I think it has nostalgia going for it. I think that's probably why people embrace this movie. Is it reminds people of that time period in their life. And I do admit I enjoyed the ending, the big reveal with the James Earl Jones showing up, and I did enjoy the ending. I just don't think I enjoyed the movie as much as you did. I thought when the team of misfits is going to go up against the kids in the uniforms, I'm thinking, oh, this is going to be awesome. And they just glossed over that and moved on to a drawn-out sequence of trying to retrieve the ball with sillier and sillier contraptions. And I'm like, this is awful. That sequence of trying to retrieve the ball took up way too much time in the movie. I would have liked to have seen that game played out a little bit. I think that would have been made it a more interesting movie. So there were elements I liked about the movie, but I just didn't like it as
See,
much
I
as
think
you
the
did.
game was very insignificant. It was just for them to show that, yeah, you got money, but we got talent and heart and
Well, that's why I
and
think they
better
could have
lines.
explored
like,
that. I think they could have explored that aspect a little bit.
the great
So-
Bambino. You play ball like a girl.
Oh, I thought you were insulting me. Rich, I know what you're gonna say. Go ahead.
That's number 8 on my list. It's always a good flick. I love that flick, and the whole game thing that you wanted there. I mean, it had turned into too much like the Bad News Bears, basically, and
I'm not saying do the whole movie, but I think they
well,
could
no,
have
I mean-
explored that a little bit more.
and it's got all the classic lines, and it does have a lot of nostalgia. You know, getting in trouble and playing baseball where I played baseball when I was a kid, like that. Yeah. There's certain neighbors, if you knock the ball in their yard,
Oh,
you
yeah.
can go in. You wouldn't go
Well,
in
that's-
after it. There's always some sort of story, or there's always an adventure to get in. Hey, go knock on the door. I'm gonna
Oh, yeah.
jump the 6-foot fence and get back, and then there'd be a dog, and we'd get in trouble.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of elements in the movie that different people relate to. My memory of watching the ball go over the fence is I grew up in Hamtramck, a very urban area, and when we wanted to play ball, we had to play ball in an alley that was maybe 12 feet wide.
Stick
And
ball?
so like if you went left or right, it was in somebody's yard, and there was one old guy who collected all of our balls and frisbees and everything, and we didn't see him for years. And then one day he calls us over, and we walk up to his fence, and he had like a milk crate filled with all our stuff, and he gave it all back to us. And we're like, well, what do you know? And so I think the movie has a lot of stuff that we can all relate
Oh
to.
yeah, and then there was the whole of course, the Wendy Peppercorn scene. I'd be like my neighbor's babysitter. We'd go up to his house and swim, and she'd be there, and that's the only reason we go up there. to
Every
see
one of
her.
these movies connects to some
Yeah,
love
and that
lost.
was a relationship that almost was.
that you
It was-
tricked a
I mean,
girl into kissing you by
but
pretending
That
you were
almost happened.
These kids were it was so well so well cast. Porter being the smart aleck, like he nailed those lines, and Smalls being the nerdy kid, he probably has an erector set
Hell,
still.
Smalls kind of remind me of Joe.
There were some things I related to.
know
Like
that-
we talked about this, how I didn't have my own glove growing up. And
Right.
so I had to use other people's gloves. The problem was I was a lefty, so I had to wear the glove on my left hand, catch the ball, pull the glove off, and throw it back.
the little tiny smart ass, Squints, L7 weenie, like just the cast nailed it, and it is so iconic. You have professional baseball teams lining up for Halloween, recreating the poster and every time I see it, I love it, and I love that they still do that. And came out in '93, and it still holds up. I saw it again recently. I got to take my kids to see it at Meadowbrook with a whole bunch of other fans outside in the summertime, and it just doesn't get better than that.
One thing that did bug me too is the big fake
I
dog.
said it doesn't get better than that.
I wish I don't know why
No.
they went with the big
I
fake dog.
love that, and this
The
is
fake
why.
dog.
Because it's a child's perception, and that's what they thought. It was this big monster, crazy dog, and in reality, it's just a dog. But to a kid, everything seems that next level. It is that big, and it
Yeah.
is
He's okay with
forever.
the broken mechanical shark, but when it comes to dog
Right.
puppets, jawline.
They kind of use the same premise though, because you only saw the paw, or you only saw like
Right?
a part of the dog. So-
Exactly.
Exactly.
Tim, your thoughts on Sandlot?
We talked about this before. Must have been sports movies. I mean, I was a little bit older when I watched it, and I rented it, and I don't remember liking it. And I don't remember why. I mean, maybe if I watched it now, it would be different. I honestly don't remember why I didn't like it. Was the acting bad or what?
No, it was
I
not.
don't know.
No, I don't know.
Well,
It was
Joe,
not.
you were sending me text while you were watching it saying that you were very irritated or annoyed.
I found certain, like the whole, like I said, creating these gadgets where they're hovering the kid off the
No,
ground.
see, I
trying
don't
to
even
get the ball.
remember. I don't even
I
remember
just,
like
I'm
any
like,
of that.
come on, man, they could have.
You didn't
that
do that
whole
with
part.
like friends, like trying to like.
With the director set? I mean,
Oh, we
come on.
used to like
Not
get
with
creative.
gadgets and
That's
stuff.
because see, kids need that today. And say, get off your phones, go out there and try to find out how to get the ball back from the beast. That would be great.
See, I thought that Smalls was going to like win the team over by like climbing the fence and getting out there and like outrunning the dog and getting the ball back, and then the movie went in a completely different direction.
More
But,
reality based.
we got about 5 minutes left, Ryan, so just get to the rest of your list.
All right, number 2, I'll go with Dazed and Confused.
Nice. All right.
All right. You got some Matthew McConaughey in there. You got some Ben Affleck, even though I hated his character in that movie.
Well,
But you were supposed to, yeah.
Absolutely. I just think it was a great movie. I don't do drugs, but they did a great job of putting this movie together and really doing it in a fun, creative way. And I watched it probably 1,000 times.
That's what I love about high school girls. We keep getting old; they keep staying the same age.
At what point does that get creepy?
Probably
It's
when I
right
now.
Just now when I
Probably
said
now.
it was pretty creepy.
What about now?
Lots of cool cars,
Yeah.
great performances. Great movie.
And the famous line. All right.
That's where you got that line from. Absolutely. And then, I mean, the Slater, the stoner kid, he had a whole bunch of check you later, like a lot of great quotes in that movie as well that I still use today.
Okay. What else you got?
What else you got? How about Summer Rental?
Summer Rental. That would have been number 6 on my list. Another great John Candy movie.
Great John Candy movie. Anytime that you put boobs in a movie, I'm a fan when I was a kid, and I had that. I
Still
just
are.
thought, yeah, absolutely.
That was that woman who had gotten surgery or whatever.
Yeah.
And she's like, "How do you like them?"
How do you like
But I love the line. She says they're new or something, and he was like, "Who had them before you?"
that? And he did that so great with that. It was like felt awkward, and that.
Yeah.
So it was that was great. John Candy's just a genius. And,
He is, man. I miss that guy.
Yeah, he nailed it with this one. So
That was a celebrity death that like really affected me. Like I was devastated when we lost him because everything he did was great.
I wore the black armband on my arm for a week.
okay.
I don't do that for anybody.
Sure. Moving on, I also threw Dirty Dancing on there. It's a great
Number 7 on
movie.
my list.
Yeah, a great movie, great acting, and it took place at a summer getaway that
Yeah.
all you people went to while I was sitting at home, not playing on the train tracks. What do you mean, me?
Chick flick.
Well, I'd have been like,
I don't
flick.
think- I don't think
Yeah, it
any of
was a
us made
chick
it to
flick.
that.
I'd have been like Patrick Swayze and working there because we couldn't afford
Right,
that
right,
kind of
right.
place.
Nobody puts baby in a corner. Yeah,
Exactly.
I saw the movie when it came out, and it was just a chick flick, and I never got into it.
That's not a chick flick. I got 2 more that I'll mention, and I know we're running low on time here. Indian Summer.
Never saw it.
And not a lot of people have. It was a great thing. It was about a guy that used to run this camp, and he's past his prime, and so now he brought back a group from the heyday of the camp to have one more week at this camp, and it's just they are adults doing camp things and playing pranks on each other and reliving their childhood. Bill Pullman's in it.
No slasher kills them all or anything.
No, just a fun
Oh.
camp movie. Elizabeth Perkins is in it, so a lot of really good character actors in it. Great movie.
And your final movie?
Grown Ups.
Grown Ups. Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Oh.
Grown Ups to me,
Yeah, sorry.
and like I told you guys before, all your friends just sitting around making fun of each other, and that's what I like to do. Do it in front of a lake, and we got a great day.
I've never seen that.
I just saw that recently, and I was surprised at how much I liked it. Now they did a sequel that
And
Yes.
the sequel was pretty good
Was
as
it?
well.
They've
I
only
haven't
done
seen
one
the
sequel
sequel.
so far.
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, okay. For some reason, I thought they did more.
No, I agree with you. I really enjoyed that, like a lot more than I thought I would. I think we covered my top 10. There's only one movie I wanted to throw. Actually, 2 movies I just want to mention real quick. On Golden Pond, I just absolutely loved. And
Oh yeah.
Do the Right
That's a great
Thing.
movie.
I'm surprised none of you guys brought up
Yeah.
Do the Right Thing.
It was in my
Like,
top 10.
Hottest summer and just tensions rising and really great movie, intense movie.
It was.
So, all right. Is there anything else anyone wants to throw out with our last 30 seconds or
RV
so?
was really good. Joe versus the
RV.
Volcano.
The River Wild with Meryl Streep.
The only other 3 I have is Moonrise Kingdom, a Wes Anderson movie, 50 First Dates, and My Summer Story, the sequel to A Christmas Story
Oh,
that had
jeez.
none of the same
Oh,
plot.
gosh. Come on.
Yeah,
Get
yeah.
out of
American
here.
Pie 2.
It's not as bad.
We're going to end it on that? We're
It's
going to end it on
Caddyshack.
that?
Caddyshack.
It's not as bad as what you guys
Ah.
would think.
I'm really surprised none of you brought up Independence Day.
Pass.
Well, we're saving that for the 4th of July podcast.